What's up, this Truth Trekker? Back with another video. And honestly, today wasn't even going to be a video day. You know, I was on the computer looking something up, minding my own business. And then I come across this. April 4th, 2025. And I said, man, are people really not hip to it yet? That everything that they see in TV, movies, the media, print, books, textbooks, treatises, movies, a lot of documentaries, radio, you name it, all bullshit, lies, propaganda, conditioning, brainwashing. And here's a prime example. Jeff Bezos, Amazon, quietly launches plan to take down Elon Musk. You mean Elon Musk, the guy who named his shitty car company after Tesla, who wanted to do the human race a service and provide free energy for everybody? And then JP Morgan said, free energy for slaves. Slaves get charged for everything. We're gonna invest in Edison, because he's making stuff that, you know, we could charge people to use, right? Like the electric. So if it was for Nikolai Tesla, there'd be no Con Edison, there'd be no PSE&G. You know, you just leave your light bulb on the desk and it'll light up. Simple as that. But again, it's all propaganda that you've been fed since birth, all brainwashing you've been fed since birth. In a system of slavery and death, first comes the slavery and then comes the death. And the two most important things are you could never let the slave know they're a slave, and you could never, ever let the slave know that the energy of the dead returns to its source, the sun. And then that's a full conscious energy. When you were born, you weren't conscious. You developed the consciousness while you were here. And to go back inside the sun fully conscious, woo, baby, then you'll really know everything, right? If energy is information, then you'll know everything. But April 4th, 2025, Jeff Bezos, Amazon, quietly launches plan to take down Elon Musk. So the same Elon Musk who's over at the Vatican getting his marching orders from the Pope, the same Jeff Bezos who's over at the Vatican getting his marching orders from the Pope, subject to the Roman Pontiff, just like the Commander-in-Chief of the U.S. military, over at the Vatican meeting with the Pope, subject to the Roman Pontiff. Biden, can you get any more in the face of that hermaphrodite wearing a dress, Biden? But, you know, he wants to show his love, man. You know, that's his boy. He's subject to the Roman Pontiff. Then you wonder why no pedophile priests ever went to jail, or there were any high-profile, like O.J. Simpson-style trials for all of the pedophile priests that there are. Never happened. Vatican controls the U.S. government. There's Obama. Obama never came out and said, hey, listen, you know what? I'm King John Lackland Plantagenet's cousin. And, you know, there's no black and white. Black and white are colors, not races. White, what you think of white people are depigmented Africans. Martina Big proved that, right? Our girl. She took the melanin-stimulating hormones, and she's blacker than Obama now, when she was whiter than Plantagenet. So, yo, Obama's not your friend. All the world's a stage, and he's just a player upon it. Putin. Not just American presidents. It's a world system. One world government, one world religion, and one world bank. How are you going to do that if everybody's not on the same page with the religious calling the shots, right? Subject to the Roman Pontiff. 9/11 Bush, subject to the Roman Pontiff. We won't tolerate outrageous conspiracy theories. Clinton, subject to the Roman Pontiff. I did not have sex with that woman. George H.W. Bush Sr., He openly called for a New World Order in one of his speeches. There's going to be a New World Order. It's not the Lord of Jungle. Subject to the Roman Pontiff. Reagan, best actor that ever lived. Subject to the Roman Pontiff. Well, I don't recall. Kennedy, the golden boy U.S. president. He was going to abolish the Federal Reserve. That's why they assassinated him. Yeah, but even if you look at the that Zapruder tape, go ahead and take a close look at it. That's a mannequin in the limo. Kennedy wasn't in that limo. Again, this is the bullshit, the conditioning, the brainwashing, the lies that you've been fed since you first opened your eyes into this world. Chinese president, subject to the Roman Pontiff. North Korean president, subject to the Roman Pontiff. I'm not going to go through every country. Former Secretary of the United Nations, meeting with the Pope, subject to the Roman Pontiff. Tell us what to do, Your Excellency. What's our plan against the Goyim? And 1945, the United Nations founded, right? First two charter members, United States and Russia, USSR, whatever they call themselves then, whatever they call themselves now, United States and Russia. And then decades after that, they came up with the brainwashing, the conditioning of a space race and a nuclear war. Space race? The sun is plasma. The stars are plasma. Lightning is plasma. The moon's plasma. You can't walk on, land on, or, plasma. You can't do it. Nuclear arms race. Cold War. Russia's 2.5 miles off the coast of Alaska. Right? Right across the water. Russia's going to launch nuclear bombs at us? That destroys them. We're 2.5 miles away. Same thing with the United States. We're gonna launch nuclear bombs at Russia. You'll just believe anything you're told, right? Like a virgin could have a baby and a man was born from a pile of dirt. Current Secretary General of the United Nations, subject to the Roman Pontiff. The Palestinians and the Israelis. Well, at least they're getting along. Come on, man. Praying with Pope Francis for Mideast peace. Man, that's just really, and it's all right in front of your face. All right in front of your face. They're laughing at you. And Pope Francis kissing David Rockefeller. Yeah, no, wait, I know, don't tell me. It's a fake photo, right? Yeah, because they don't want you to see that kind of thing. Even though it's really David Rockefeller more likely kisses the Pope's hand or ring, because he's the mafioso, and the white Pope only gets his orders from the black Pope, which is the superior general of the Jesuit order. A general is the leader of a military corps, and that's what it is. This whole system is a military operation, long-term military operation. And how could this all be kept a secret, right? We got New York Times and the Washington Post and Fox News and CBS. Well, speaking of David Rockefeller, it was Rockefeller who stood right up in front of the Trilateral Commission, said we're grateful to the Washington Post, the New York Times, Time Magazine, and other great publications whose directors have attended our meetings and respected our promises of discretion. Don't tell anybody about chemtrails. Don't tell them the moon's plasma. Don't tell them the energy of the dead returns to its source. Don't tell them God was a hermaphrodite named Abel. And the Pope's wearing a dress. He's a hermaphrodite too. Just like Pope Joan proved. Right? Pope Joan was a pope that was posing as a guy until she popped out a kid on a procession. Then they said she's a woman. She wasn't a woman. She's a hermaphrodite. It would have been impossible for us to develop our plan for the world, being subject to the bright lights of publicity during those years. But the world is now more sophisticated. I guess by sophisticated they mean dumbed down and degenerated to where, they don't know which end's up. The only thing spinning is their heads, and prepared to march to a world government, right? So this is what you're looking at. All propaganda all day. Thank you for your time and attention. Best to you.